Hi, guys. I'm so excited. I am here back, reunited with Jackie Shamus, a.k.a. Life of the Shameless.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm here with Barkley. You guys can't see, but it's like the best day of my life right now.
I really wish Fenway was right here, too.
Jackie
has
love
the
that.
Cutest wiener dog.
I do.
Fenway.
I'm so sad he's not here. He was here for 2 weeks in New York and he loved it. And then you know what's interesting? I brought him back mostly because I went back for my nephew's birthday, but because I thought he wasn't going to like it. So that was my plan. And then he did. And I was like, do I keep him here? What do I do? Maybe it's best that I take him back. Mm-hmm. I regret it.
Is he a golden wiener? Or
he's a brown.
Like a mix of, or is he just a wiener dog?
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought you were saying like a golden as in the color.
No, I know what he looks like.
Oh, and no, he's just a wiener.
He's just straight Dachshund.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the best. Yeah. I love him. His personality is kind of remind. He's just like this. He cuddles.
Oh, Barkley and Fenway. Oh, Barkley just tilted his head.
So cute.
I'm so excited to have you back.
I'm so excited to be here.
So excited to catch up too. It's funny. So Jackie lives in Miami and she's here for a little bit. And she texted me being like, I'm in New York for a few weeks. Like, let's grab coffee. Let's catch up. And I was like, let's just do that. But on the pod.
Like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'll save things for the pod.
Yeah, because realistically, we would have been sitting at a coffee shop having this catch up and we would have said, oh, we should have had microphones for this.
Yeah. Listen, I do that a lot with Serna for the podcast. I'm like, I'm going to tell you on the podcast because I want to hear your live reaction and kind of record that for everyone else to listen to.
Yeah, no, those are the real conversations. That's literally why Carly and I ended up starting Life in Progress.
Yeah.
But speaking of the pod, a very new update for those who remember Jackie and for anyone who doesn't remember Jackie and is new to Jackie is now, we're 1 year into Jackie being the co-host of Fill Your Cup podcast.
I am.
How's that going?
Honestly, I love it. It's so interesting because by the way, I'm also wearing the In Progress sweatshirt. I changed into it. But you and Carly are the same dynamic as Serna and I. And I say that because you guys also met after college. And Serna and I met a year after college. And she's my best friend. I was telling her yesterday that she's the girl, you know, that one friend you go to for like when something happens, you call that one friend. I'm sure it's Carly. Like I call Serna every time something happens. So point is, I just love our dynamic. We have so much fun. If we fight about the podcast, it's stupid. It's silly things. It's not anything serious. And I don't know. It's literally the same dynamic as you guys.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I think Carly and I noticed that too. Like because we both started them like similar times too. And it's so.
You started before.
I think a few months, but if you're coming up on a year now, because we started in June, but it's just so cool to see like friends working together. Mm-hmm. And it's also so cool to see you taking I don't even want to say your concepts, but like just your thoughts and putting them out there in a different way than before, where it was just on social media and shorter videos, because you've always said more than just like, here's what I'm wearing or here's this haul. Even though like you're doing those videos, there's always a deeper message there. And you've done such an amazing job at getting those messages across in short form. And so seeing you having these longer, like more in-depth, deeper conversations on the podcast has just been really amazing. And you've done such a great job.
You're so sweet. Thank you. I mean, it's not easy. Opening up is never easy. And sometimes there's things you understand. There's things that you don't share on the podcast. And then there's things that you decide to share that are so uncomfortable, but are going to help other people. So you share them.
Absolutely.
And even something happened to me recently where I told Serna before we recorded a couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know what, I'm not ready yet to talk about it, but I will be ready one of these days. So yeah, I think, you have to share a lot more and be willing to, but it's the best thing ever. And you have 2 podcasts, which is amazing. I don't know how you do it because I know that you're editing and doing everything. And I'm like, I don't know how she does it all.
There's a reason one's on a break right now. But I mean, listen, it's a labor of love. It's like the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. And yeah, like you said, it can be really hard to talk about some things, but as soon as you're ready and able to, it's like you give and it gives back in a way.
Yeah.
Like, that what you've been through, like you could go through something so terrible, so tragic, so hard, but opening up about it, being vulnerable about it, sharing about it on the podcast, you're actually helping people.
Yeah.
And that is just the most incredible thing that like we get to do. And that's what I remind myself when I'm like having stupid days of like, I'm so stressed. Like I wish I had more structure in my life. It's like, okay, but I created the most amazing job for myself ever.
You really did. I think it's so funny because I think we're so conditioned to believe that we have to be sitting down from like 9 to 6. I don't know what the hours of. In Miami, it's 10 to 6 on our computers. And I've been in New York getting my work done really early and then walking in the afternoon and doing whatever I want to do. And it's like I've made that life for myself, and so did you. And it's like we're allowed to do that. So
we are.
It's the best job ever.
And even what you're doing, I think, is so cool. And like, I want people to kind of hear more about why you decided to take a few weeks to spend in New York, because we often get so just stuck in our routine, in our daily life, in our career, in our city, and we feel like change isn't possible, or like, well, you have a dog, so you can't just like pick up and go somewhere for a few weeks. But I imagine it's been an amazing experience, and I just want people to kind of hear like what led you to do that, and just to remind people like you can go do things that you want to do.
Yeah. So if I'm being completely honest, I was in a little bit of a funk. I called it the summer blues all summer. I had the summer blues, and what that means is that I was just like not feeling good. I was just kind of sad. I wasn't really doing much. I wasn't dating. I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, I need something to kind of just reignite that spark in me.
Was it hard dealing with that over the summer when that's the most like Instagram versus reality of like everyone's in Portugal, everyone's in Mallorca, and you're just like, but I'm not feeling good right now in my apartment.
It's so funny you say that. I went to Italy with my family, and I still was like, I don't know. It's still not doing. I had fun, but I'm like, it's still not doing it for me. So I decided I've always wanted to do a month in New York, and I've been saying this for years. Like my friends were like, "You've been saying this for 2 years. Are you actually going to do it?" One day, I found an apartment that I loved, and then all of a sudden, it was booked, and I was so upset. So I messaged the owner. And I did Airbnb, by the way. And I said, do you have any units available? And she's like, yeah, I'm actually refurnishing one right now. It's going to be available September, but you can book it in June. So as soon as it went live, I booked it. And I had that to be excited about. And honestly, I just feel like a different person after being here for a month. I really, really do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You literally cured your summer blues.
I cured my summer blues. I'm like, I've been saying yes to everything. I think because I'm here for a month, I feel like I have to. But I'm like, say yes to everything. Do everything. Like go out, date, meet people at bars, like give people your number. I've been doing all of that, which is so unlike me in Miami, but has been such a good like change.
Do you think that will stay with you when you go back to Miami?
I need to make that effort, which is the truth. I think my friends always say that I'm a lot funner in New York and Boston. They always say that about me. And I need to be better about doing that in Miami or keeping that alive. Yeah. It's hard. I think it's hard just because I'm so used to Miami and it's so comfortable. And I also just like, I guess I'm a little tired of doing the same things and going to the same places. And that's what I love about New York is that there's so many places. There's some sort of article or something that says that it takes so many years to go to every restaurant.
Yeah.
And Miami is not like that. And I'm not saying Miami isn't great, but I think that New York is so fast paced and I needed that kind of energy for a little bit.
With feeling like it's comfortable and like you're going to the same places, wouldn't, just to play devil's advocate for everyone listening who also is going to say these same things about their current life, like wouldn't it spice things up a bit or switch things up a bit if you went to those same places and talked to strangers and gave out your number and went on dates?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You could
do that where you are.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know what it is about my energy here. I think my energy is just more lively and I need to bring that back to Miami. Like I really need to be better about being a little bit more outgoing when I go out and not sticking with my friends and doing that. Because for some reason in New York, I do that and not in Miami. I don't know why it is, but I will say I think that I feel a little bit more confident in New York than I do in Miami.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think Miami is a little bit more superficial. And I think the girls that I'm surrounded by when you go out are just like so perfect, have the cosmetic surgery and just stick thin, and just I think they're beautiful, and I sometimes I feel like I don't relate to that, and for some reason I think New York has just so much variety that I feel like I fit in more. But that's also something in my head. That's definitely something that I've told myself in my head. Even I spoke to my therapist 2 days ago, and I was telling her this situation at a bar the other day that happened, that I was with one of my friends and I saw two guys, and one of the guys caught my attention. So I was like, I'm always the person that goes up to, I'm like, hi, what's your name? So we speak to the guys, and the guy gravitates towards my friend, who's very beautiful and amazing. But I immediately thought, ugh, I'm not, I didn't look good enough for this guy. And my therapist goes, what if it was just that you were, maybe he likes someone a little bit more quiet, or like not in a bad way,
Yeah.
but just someone that's a little bit more. And I was like, you're right. I just kind of make it about me. I make it, they don't like me. They don't like what I look like.
Maybe
that's what
you
I
look just like
automatically-
their ex, and it freaked them out.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
you were wearing purple and they hate purple.
Yeah.
Like, we literally don't know.
Yeah. You're right. That's the thing. I think I'm still, from living in Miami a little bit, and also just like things I've experienced in my past, that's still something I'm working on, letting go of that mentality of they don't like me, because it's not true. And I know what I bring to the table. I really, really do. But then that's automatically what I go to.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always going to be easier to be hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
The easiest thing is to talk negatively to ourselves. It's not easy to be in that situation to be like, oh, you know what? Like, I thought he was cute, but like, I'm so happy that he likes my friend and not me.
Yes.
That's not realistic.
Yeah.
You can, and two things can be true at the same time. You can be happy that your friend met a cute guy, and you can be sad that that cute guy wasn't the guy for you that night.
Yeah. Right.
And like, even in not a dating context, like, I feel this way all the time, where like I compare myself to the people around me. I remember over the summer we went to this like friend of a friend's party in the Hamptons at this like insane mansion, and I looked around and I literally said to Jake, like, I'm at least 50 pounds heavier than any other woman here.
What do you mean? There's no way.
No. And I'm not even kidding. Jake also looked around and he laughed. It was true. It was literally true. Like,
No way.
like maybe not 50, but like every single other woman there had 0% body fat.
That's so
And
crazy.
I was like, I feel so out of place.
Yeah.
And
That's how I feel in Miami. So
Yeah.
to bring it back, that's exactly how I feel. I think everyone is so thin and perfect, and like, just I don't know how to explain it, like model, that I'm like, I don't fit in.
Yeah.
And that for some reason, that's why I feel more confident here, and I feel more able to go up to people. So I think it brought my confidence back a little bit. I think my confidence went down during the summer a little. I've also gone through like things that, just rejection that doesn't help. But yeah, I love New York.
Well, New York loves you. I love you.
I hope it
being
does.
Here. We got to get Fenway back up here. We
I
can have some
know.
doggy play dates.
I know.
But I think everything you're saying does make sense. And I've also seen it happen where when you're not in the place that's yours, you feel less attached to the outcome. And so you can kind of be a little more carefree.
Yeah.
And you can be more of like your silly self, just like taking risks, because you're going to leave.
Yes.
And so like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You go on a date
never
with
see them
somebody
again.
and it's a bad date, and okay, you never have to see that. You literally will never see them again, probably.
Right.
And so this is where, I've seen it happen with friends where they're on bachelorette parties and they are not having a care in the world. They're being their weird self. They're dancing like their silliest self at a bar. And that's what grabs a guy's attention, that they're not caring, that they're not looking like boyfriend hunting.
Right.
Because it's not where they live.
Right. That's so true. Maybe that's what it is. I think it's because the same thing happens to me in Boston. I'm so just like, I carefree. I talk to whoever. I think it's because I don't live here.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Like, who cares? I'm leaving. So if I never see you again, I never see you again.
Yeah.
Very
Something to
interesting.
think about.
Yeah, very interesting.
And maybe going back to Miami with the mindset of, maybe I do want to change. Maybe I do want to move somewhere else. Maybe that'll give you, whether the end game is that you stay or go,
Yeah.
maybe that will give you that same release of like being less attached to the outcome or being less like wanting something to happen specifically.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I say I'll move, but then who knows if I actually will.
Even if you don't, it's about making the most of the situation you're in right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I think New York has really just made me think about a lot in life, like what I want for my future, like kind of what I'm struggling with now.
Mm-hmm.
I think in my alone time, I was so distracted, but in my alone time, I've thought about the things that are triggers for me and things that I'm working through. I've had to deal with things, kind of just things in person too, just things that have happened to me. But it's been like a really good ride.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. What do you want your future to look like, if you don't mind me asking?
No, not at all. I definitely want to get married and have a family. I think that's something I've been so career focused for so long that I'm ready for that. And I think I feel secure in my career. So I'm like ready for the next step. So that's where when you said fertility, I'm like, I'm thinking about egg freezing. I'm 30. I need to start thinking about that. And that's like something that makes me not stressed, but it does make me, anxious. I'm like, I really do need to start thinking about that. I think I've learned a lot about what I'm looking for in a partner. I think I've
tell.
Yeah, I think I even when we last spoke, I actually listened to our episode this week.
You know what's funny? I thought about doing that, and I was like, let me just binge fill your cup instead.
You're actually, when I was listening, I was thinking, I was like, she's such a great host. Like, you really just know the questions. You do your research. You really are.
Thank you.
You are. So what was I saying? What I'm looking for? What was I just saying?
You listen back, so you.
I listened back to the episode.
Yeah.
So what I was looking for, even when we were talking, I think I was looking for like flirty fun because I finally was feeling confident again, or just like confident in my skin and realizing it doesn't have to do with my weight if someone doesn't like me. But now I think I'm done. I've been chasing a lot of, I guess, unavailable people for a very long time, and I want someone who is so sure of me. And so, for example, the other day I went on a date, which I guess we can talk about. It's going to be a month later anyway. And the guy was exactly what I should want on paper, right? Like successful, so family oriented, broke up with his ex because she didn't want children. It's like everything that I'm looking for.
He knows what he wants.
His family lives in Florida. They're from Boston. I'm sharing.
Oh my God.
Much. Yeah. Like my favorite city. So it was so crazy. And I left the date and I was actually surprised. I was like, I had a really good time with him. But for some reason, he was like, text me when you're back from Miami, because I went to Miami for 2 days. And I haven't texted him. And I'm like, why haven't I? I don't know what's stopping me. I have a few days, like I have like a week left. Do I do it? Was I not excited enough? I don't know if you ever felt that. If you felt that with Jake. Jake, right?
Jake.
Okay. I think I was confusing with Carly's. You and Carly are the same person.
Jason. Yeah, I know.
Like, I don't know if it's because I'm used to the unavailable guys that were really exciting at first, but then really didn't want anything. I don't know.
I think that definitely has to do with it. You're used to having to like chase someone or convince somebody to like you. You're used to not feeling secure in a situation. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this.
1,000%.
And here's somebody who seems like this. I'm not saying this will work, but it could work with this person. This is the type of person that it could work with. You had a great date. It seems like you're from the early conversations, you're aligned in what you want and when you want it. And the Florida and Boston stuff like that makes sense on paper. And so it's a matter of seeing like, does this feel right? And could this lead to something? And that's scary.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
I think that might be why, because of the possibility that it could lead to something. And are you really ready for it? I do think you are. I think you could also go on a second date with him and realize, I really don't like this guy.
Yeah. Like, why am I holding back on the second date? I need to text him.
You had therapy 2 days ago. Did you talk to your therapist about it?
I actually didn't because I had so many other things to talk about. No, that's a lie. We did talk about it, and she said the same thing. She's like, I think you should, because I said I don't want to. I didn't say it like this, but I was like, I'm worried that I'm gonna waste one of my last days here on like maybe not as. But
You can
I'm
always
not.
come
Well, she
back.
said to just pack it into another plan I have. So if I have, dinner, maybe drinks with him or something like that, which I don't know. I'm going to text him.
Let's text him right now. Where's your phone?
Oh my God.
Let's do it.
Wait, where's my phone?
Live texting.
Wait, where is it? Oh, I left it over there.
here.
Let me go grab it.
Guys, this is happening.
Really funny.
This is happening.
Oh, wait, and then I have to tell you about another crazy boy.
We have another crazy boy story coming too. Ooh, I like the yellow phone case. It's fun. It's like a nice pop of color. True.
So, this was the last text. Ooh, I'm like scrolling down. Okay.
What should we call him? Give me a fake name.
Boston boy?
Boston boy.
Boston boy.
Like Sammy Adams. Boston boy.
Boston boy. Wait, when was this? Okay, so let me know when you're back from Florida if you're interested in going out again. And I said, absolutely will do. And I did.
What day did you get back? Like how many days ago?
Like a week ago.
Okay.
I know.
And he know how long you were going for?
No, I didn't
Okay.
tell him.
Okay. So let's start with like, hey, you tell me what you want to say.
I want to say something along the lines of like, hey, I'm back. Let me know. I can't speak English right now, but something like,
Okay, what about just like, hey, I'm back for another week now. Would love to see you before I head back down if you have a free night. Or you can say, would love to see you while I'm back or while I'm here. Do Thursday or Friday night work for you? Like, let's give two options. Instead of leaving it open for him to say, how's Saturday? And then you have plans and then you're doing the back and forth.
Would love to see you. I can't type like this.
Narrate.
I'm saying, hey, I'm back for a few days. I leave next Monday.
Okay.
Would love to see you. Would Thursday or Friday? Actually, I have plans Thursday. Would Friday or Saturday work?
Perfect. Night, day, like, why don't you specify?
Saturday night work.
Guys, the key with texting is to be specific. You don't want to like leave room for guessing and then miscommunication. Like, what if she meant Saturday day and he's thinking Saturday night? And then it's like, oh, wait, no, I can't actually do that. Like, just be specific.
Okay. If
You don't have to like beat around the bush. You're doing great. You did it? Oh my God, you sent it. Done. Okay.
You know what's so funny?
What?
I just wanted to make sure I don't have his number saved. Right, 617.
Do not save numbers.
Not until we're talking.
What is it with that? I never
I
did
don't,
that.
and it's not even like a bad luck thing. It's that I kind of it excites me more to see the phone number because I know it's them or like a spam something.
Oh my God, I've been getting so much political spam lately.
Yes,
it's
me too.
insane.
Who are you voting for? I keep getting
It's insane.
Anyway, so that was that, and then if you want to hear another story, I
Please.
matched with someone on Raya, right? And it was someone who I thought was going to be great. He actually is 40, which is
Why did you think that he was going to be great?
his profile. Just first of all, he has a Fenway, like the exact same dog as mine. It's same color, everything. And we added each other on Instagram. It looked super normal. It looked normal. And then he is in New York. He lives in LA because that's how Raya works. It's the worst.
Yeah.
He's in New York and he's like, let me know if you want to come for meet for a drink. I'm here till Thursday or Friday. And I was like, it was Thursday. So I was like, I'm out with my friends if you want to come. He starts sending me these. I can send you a screenshot if you want to post like a little thing. He starts sending me these crazy texts. I don't know. Like, look at the timestamps.
Okay. Narrating.
No, it's just, I don't even know if you can narrate that.
Okay. From between 11:07 and, oh my God, and 12:29, he sent, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 photos, including a 12 texts, including a picture.
The picture, which I saved, by the way, and was from 2 days before.
Oh my God. She literally says, like, don't worry about it. Oh, wait. Hold on. We got to back up.
Did you, what?
When he says, I love you?
Oh, yeah. He said, I love you. And I said, let's not.
You haven't met yet.
No, I haven't even met the guy.
Okay, so she gives the place to come, and he says, heading there, give me 30 minutes. And 3 minutes later, he says, hello. And she says, I'm here. And he said, coming. I love you. Never before ever loved you. She goes, LMAO, are you okay? He goes, yes, I think. Nothing, just I thin. Give me a sec. She said, don't worry about it. Let's meet another time. I imagine at this point you're freaked out by the I love you thing.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I don't want to meet this guy.
He goes, we should meet tonight, period. Jackie goes, okay, then come here, but only if you're fine. And then we go to the 12 texts. I'm fine. You're right. I'm not fine, but I love you. Minus the last part. Okay. Hello. LOL, where are you? Hello. Jackie. Hello. Oh, hello. Period. Lovely. Period. Sends the photo. Hello. Hi. And Jackie never responded. Nor should you have. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, I've dealt with some crazy stuff.
Okay, so we have one more.
Yes. So my second day in New York, I am walking down the streets of New York, like past Soho. And at this point, I had already walked 19,000 steps. Like, I was exhausted. I was so tired. I'm holding Fenway. He doesn't want to walk anymore. I'm holding a grocery bag that I need to throw out because I've been holding it for like 6 hours. And then I'm holding a leather jacket, even though it's like 80 degrees and hot. So I'm just trying to paint a picture to show you, like, I am disheveled.
You're a mess.
I'm a mess.
You're a mess.
I'm walking down the street and I look to my right and I'm like, there was someone that I had dated before, like gone on dates, like whatever. So I'm like, I have 3 seconds to decide. Do I want to say hi or do I just walk by and pretend like I don't see him? So I'm like, I'm going to say hi. So
you're like too disheveled. There's too much going on.
Like really
you don't even have it in you to be like, just laser focus, go forward.
Just go forward. So I'm like, what the hell do I do? So I'm like, okay, tap him on the shoulder. And he's like, what? And whatever. So he's like, come sit, because he's by himself. At first I was like, what if he's on a date? I don't know. So I sit and I sit for, I don't know, like 20-30 minutes, and we're talking at the same time. Like, I'm so disheveled. Fenway's like trying to eat my food. Like, I was like so distracted, but at the same time it just kind of felt like no time had passed. Meanwhile, this is someone I haven't talked to in like a year or so. Like, we still follow each other, but it's like, I don't know. We don't, whatever. So after that, I was like, okay, this is crazy. You know, when you're just like, why is the universe doing this? Like, why on day 2 of being here? How is it? Like, not even in his neighborhood, whatever. So I was like, you know what? I have to, I'll text him and be like, it was nice seeing you. So we texted a little bit that night and then like nothing came out of it. But when you're just like, you were over it and then you just start to think about it again and it just, you're like, why did this happen? Out of all times, the city is so big. How is it that that's the person that I bump into?
Do you find that you always try and put meaning to the things in your life? Okay.
Always. I am the kind of person that I'm like, the universe wouldn't make this happen.
Everything happens for a reason, but I need to figure out the reason.
Yeah. But I think for me, it was almost like closure to the situation, closure that I needed to give myself, because I don't know, I'm curious to hear what you think about it, because no effort was really made to like see me. I think like if he wanted to see me, he would. I do believe in that. He knew I'm here for a month and that wasn't made. But then it's like, at what point do we just like remove each, it's like that weird.
I think if you're thinking about, should I remove this person from following me? Should I unfollow them? If you're thinking about it, I think you should do it. I know it feels like a weird thing, but why do you need this person in a way like haunting you.
Yeah.
Like if you want to move on, I fully think one of the best things that you can do for yourself in the process of moving on, in the process of healing from a breakup and getting over somebody, is to detach and go no contact. And that involves unfollowing and removing them from following you.
Yeah.
Because your life is for you and it's about you, and what they're doing, what they're seeing, that doesn't matter. That should have no impact on your life. And so I think if you're ever questioning, like, should I remove this person? The answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
You just don't know how to get from point A to point B because it's a weird thing to do.
It seems like so dramatic, but at the same time, again, energetically, I really think that if you want to move on, because obviously he's someone I've been dating and I've been seeing other people, but he's someone who always kind of like, I thought of, I see what you're doing.
He still lives rent free in your head.
Yes. So it's like at what, exactly what you just said. It's like you have to close that chapter, remove to move on. Yeah. And I do think that energetically too. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah. And I think it's good that you were able to take that situation and the aftermath of it and be like, okay, this is the door closing.
Yeah.
Not the door's reopening slowly. No, we saw each other. We had a nice conversation. I'm not like, oh my God, he's the greatest thing that's ever happened in the world. Like, thank God I ran into him. It's just like, okay, that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't see each other again. Okay, I don't need to keep thinking about this person.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's also nice to like see somebody after a certain amount of time and realize like their life isn't that amazing. Like that's what happens when we don't see somebody for so long and we miss them and we think about them, is we're hyping up all the things that they could possibly be doing. Yes. And to realize, like, bring them down to earth and be like, oh, you're just a person. Yeah. And your life actually like isn't A, that much better without me, and B, isn't that fabulous. Yeah. I don't need you.
Right. I think that's the thing for me. I think I really, when we were talking, I really thought about like we're going to be such a good power couple. Like we get each other. Mm-hmm. We understand certain things about like our families are very similar. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt like everything lines up. Mm-hmm. But I think when I saw him, it was kind of this reminder, like some things haven't changed. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm not saying he hasn't grown. I think he's a great person. I really do. I think he's awesome and he's an amazing person. The person he finds one day is very lucky. But I think that there's a couple of things, and I think me too, like that need to change for him to find his person.
Yeah. And here's the thing. He can be amazing and you can be amazing. And that doesn't mean that you guys are amazing together for the rest of your lives.
Right. Right.
That's the unlock.
Yeah.
Especially when we go through dating, we go through rejection, and we meet people and we so badly want to be with them and they don't want to be with us. Like that doesn't mean we're not amazing.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that our amazing match isn't out there. That just means that like this amazing person and me, you, who is also amazing, are not meant to spend lives together and procreate. And that's okay.
Yes, that's exactly. And I want to hear about how you knew with Jake, because I'm sure you've told it on the pod, but I feel like I haven't really heard it from you. Like when you knew, and was it immediate? Did you what was different about him versus the ex before or another ex?
One thing that was different right off the bat with Jake is that I felt very secure. And in every prior,
I do remember that something happened date 3 where he brought you food or something.
I was so sick. I had gotten my COVID shot on the night before. So I was supposed to be in Florida for 2 weeks. This was during COVID. And I ended up getting a phone call on a Friday saying, hey, you're getting off a wait list to get a vaccine if you can be here tomorrow at like 4:00. And I didn't tell them I was in Florida. I was just like, okay, I'll be there. I got my vaccine like 2 months early because of this wait list that a friend's parent was able to get me on. And so I was texting Jake, and we'd only been on 2 dates at that point. And I was like, hey, like, so like turns out I'm coming back for like 48 hours and I'm going to go back to Florida. And he was like, oh, wow, like I'm supposed to work tomorrow, but let me see if I can get someone to cover my shift. Like I'd love to like take you out. And so fast forward, I get my COVID shot Saturday. I wake up Sunday feeling more sick than I've ever felt in my entire life. Yeah. And I'm like, I literally like made a fake sling for my arm because I like, couldn't move it while I was getting ready. Like I have photos of me using this like white Syracuse shirt as a literal sling. And I felt so sick. Like I felt like death. And he had to like put my jacket on for me. He had to like cut my food for me. Like I couldn't do that much. And we still had such a fun day. We
Yeah.
had so much fun. And at the end of, like, we were just supposed to get brunch, and then we walked to Murray Hill and went to the gym and took pickleback shots and like ran into some of his friends, ran into some of my friends, just like coincidentally they were passing by. And then
Crazy.
at the end of the day, I was like, well, I'm gonna go home and watch One Tree Hill for 4 hours. Like, you're welcome to join me. And so we came over, and I like changed into sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and we laid on the couch together for 4 hours watching One Tree Hill. And that was a huge turning point for me, where I was like, I can, on a day I feel horrible, I can have so much fun and then feel so comfortable doing nothing with this guy.
Yeah.
And that was when I first realized, like, okay, there's something real here.
I was gonna say as soon as you said you were sick but still went,
Yeah.
that's when you know you really want to go, because that had happened to me once. I've actually never shared this, but I had COVID. This is I was still testing positive, but
But you knew you weren't sick anymore.
I wasn't sick.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to see someone.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't sick. Like, I had no symptoms, that I was still testing, and I was like, what do I do? I ended up seeing him. I feel like that sounded really bad, but I promise I was done. Like, my 10 days
Well,
were
you could also
done.
be in the clear and still be testing positive for like weeks. So it's
Yes. Yeah. So I was not testing, but I was like, do I go? I feel like that's not good. But I was like, I have to go. I have to go. But that makes me feel better, because I feel like with the person that is right for me, I'm just going to know. I'm going to know. And I think that going into 30s, I've realized that I've been chasing, like I said, so many unavailable, so many just like guys that I think are good for me but aren't. And they're good because they almost like, it's almost like I'm self-sabotaging, because I want to feel bad and I want to chase, but for what, you know?
Yeah. It's because it's the
What
pattern
I'm
you've
used
been
to.
in.
Yes,
it's what you're
it's the
used to. It
pattern.
feels, even though it sucks, it feels comfortable. And this is why it's so frustrating. Like, this is why dating is so frustrating, because you could want something real and you could want somebody mature, but you might not actually be ready for it. And so
Yeah.
it sounds like you have come around this turning point where you are ready for it now.
Yes.
It's still scary.
It's scary because, like you said, am I ready? I think I'm ready, but I also love my independence. I love to be by myself. I love to be alone. But I really do want that connection. I want to find a life partner. I see what my sister has with her family and her, like, my niece and nephew. I see you, Carly. Like, it must be so nice for you guys to relate. Like, we're both married. We both, you guys can go on couples trips together. I don't know. It's just that connection is what I really want.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I will always say this, like, I fully, wholeheartedly believe that, like, all my life's problems would be solved when I, like, met somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I thought being single was, like, the worst thing in the world, and I just needed to find a boyfriend, and suddenly I would be, like, fixed.
Yeah.
Like, my life would be great. And sure, like, I don't have to, like, date and find my person anymore, but I still have a million other issues in my life. So it's not this, like, one magic pill, but, it's nice to have somebody to go through all those things with, especially when things are hard. But going back to your original question of, like, how did I know with him? It's not romantic. Like, the way I have been able to best articulate it is that it made sense and it felt right. It's not like, oh my God, he swept me off my feet and I was never anxious again and I knew he was the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. It was like, we want the same things for our future. We have the same values and beliefs. We love spending time together. We communicate incredibly well together. We know how to make each other happy. And we are able to support each other through the bad times. We're able to cheer each other on through the good times. Like, it feels right. Our connection is there. And in terms of the lives that we want to live for the next however many years we're alive, like, we want the same things.
Right.
And that's what
And
it
that's
came
what
down
it should
to.
be. I think
Yeah.
it's like everyone thinks it's like, oh my God, I knew right away. And it's like this crazy thing. But
Yeah.
that's what I've heard. Even my sister with her husband, she was best friends with him and he was chasing her. And she's like, no, she was chasing the same kinds, the like guys that I'm chasing.
Yeah.
And then eventually she realized this is who I want to marry. And now she's even more in love with him after having 2 kids with him.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I think back to the guys that I dated and all the people that I cried over and that I so desperately wanted to be with and questioned for years even, like, why won't they be with me? And I can't believe like the types of people I was chasing after and the connection that I was looking for. None of those people, none of those situations would have led to a lasting relationship.
Right. Yeah.
And it took me going through all of that and getting my heart broken and building myself back up over and over and over to realize that and to then be ready for Jake.
Yes. I really think that you learn a lot from people. Like every good person probably came into your life for a reason and taught you something.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is the biggest difference? Now I'm so used to me that I'm like interviewing you.
Let's do it. Bring it
What
on.
was the biggest difference between Jake and maybe the ex right before that?
I mean, the ex before that, like, well, so I was in a lot of situationships.
Yes.
The ex before that was like a long-term situation.
I think I know this. Wasn't it a band member or something?
Well, there were a lot of band members.
Oh.
The one right before, like the last person I'd say I like dated before Jake ended up being gay. And that's why it didn't work out.
Interesting.
He's been on the podcast. We talked about it, how I helped him figure out he was gay. Go find that episode. It's called How I Helped My Ex Figure Out He Was Gay.
That's such a good episode.
The boyfriend I had before, he wasn't ready. He was still so career driven that he didn't have time for a relationship. He didn't want a relationship.
Yeah.
We didn't like mean to meet each other. We didn't meet each other on a date. We met each other like randomly when I was visiting a friend. And we ended up in this long distance cross country relationship because we really liked each other, but he had no business being in a relationship.
Yeah.
And he figured that out. And I kept fighting for it. I'm like, oh, I don't care if you can only give me 1% of you right now. That's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. I'll take whatever of you I can get.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that security of having a boyfriend. I wanted to be in a relationship. I didn't want to be single again. I didn't want to keep going on dates. I knew what it was like when it was good with him. And so I was willing to accept less than the bare minimum all other times because I was like, well, I can wait. Like, I want to cheer you on in your career. Like, it doesn't matter if you can only call me once every 3 days for 5 minutes. Like, that's okay. I support you.
Yeah.
And he ended up when he broke up with me, he said, I'm surprised that you haven't broken up with me yet because I've been such a bad boyfriend to you.
Oh my gosh. You know what it is? I think we're scared we're not going to find that connection or something, because I know that feeling, that excited connection, and you love spending time with him, but then when you're not with him, it's so you feel that distance. So it's like, why are you staying? But then you find, once you cut that off, you find someone else who's better,
right,
and who gives you that attention and texts you every morning and night.
Yeah.
Not every 3 days.
And one thing I realized with Jake was like, sure, there would be times where like we didn't see each other for like a week at a time or like 5 days, 6 days, whatever. And I was never worried in those in-betweens. I was never worried about, well, like, is he really at work tonight or is he on a date? I was never worried about when am I going to see him next. I felt calm and I felt confident in our connection and our communication. Even in the beginning, like I never spiraled.
Yeah.
And that was a huge difference for me.
Can I ask you, when you were dating him, because I wonder if like maybe this is a me issue, when you were dating him in the beginning, were you also seeing other people?
I was until our third date. I think I had gone on like 1 or 2 dates with this one other guy. And I think we had one more date in between. Like, I had already met Jake, and then I think I had one more date with this other guy. But it was COVID. Like, it was like outdoor dining COVID.
Yeah.
It was like being in pods with friends COVID.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily like easy to go on a bunch of other dates. I historically, like, once I liked somebody, I was like all in on them. But I will say, in this one situation, I was able to compare and contrast. This other guy, I was obsessed with him. I was so panicked after like our first date, after our second date, of like, well, like we don't have another date planned. Like what are we going to see each
Wait,
other?
the guy that you were
The other guy.
Okay.
I was like, well, he hasn't texted me to ask me out again. Like, am I ever going to see him again? Like, my life is over if I don't. And it was because I was so anxious and so insecure. And so then when I started going out with Jake and felt so calm, I was like, whoa. And I remember Jonah Feingold, my co-host of Seeing Other People at the time, he literally asked me point blank, like, Alana, like, what do you like about this guy? I'm like, well, why does it matter? Like, what I like about him? Like, I just want to know, like, does he want to see me again? And then he was like, Alana, do you even like this guy? And I'm like, well, why does it matter if I like him if he doesn't like me? And Jonah literally like called me out on my bullshit and was like, Alana, you can't even say that you like this guy.
That is so interesting. You were focused on whether he liked
I just
you,
wanted him to
that
like
you were
me.
anxious. Yeah. I mean, it's like the people pleasing. And I think that goes into the topic of people pleasing when someone rejection to me, it's interesting. It really doesn't have to do, I don't take it personally as in, you know, because I know who I am. Like when I look at myself in a mirror and I'm like, I know, you know, my confidence has grown so much, but when someone rejects me, I'm like, what do you mean you don't like me? Like, you don't like me, but what is it? You know, like, why do you like her and not me? You get into that kind of spiral.
Yeah, I remember a very specific like comparison like that. There was this guy who he was like a friend of a friend, and you know, we had like randomly made out in a bar once, and then we had like gone on a date another time, and shortly after like we had gone on a date, I stopped hearing from him, and then I heard from a friend that he like got into this relationship with this other like friend, and I was like, why is she so much better than me? Like, why am I not worthy of like being his girlfriend, but she is? And like, I don't even know this girl.
Right.
And suddenly I'm just comparing myself and putting myself in the basement and putting her in the penthouse and saying like, well, she clearly has all these things that I don't have, and she's so much better than me, and I suck, and nobody's ever going to want to be with me. And it's like, apparently they like dated when they were in middle school and like stayed in touch for like 20 years and had this whole deep-rooted history, and they're married now. So like it's also like this guy wasn't my guy.
Yes.
But I put myself down so much, and that was the easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Instead of what you're doing, saying like, but I'm great, why doesn't he like me?
Yeah.
Which it's still not great to compare like why her, not me, but it's better with the lens of like, I'm amazing.
I'm
like
good.
But you know what? That's his loss.
Yeah. And listen, I think that going into, you had said feeling like too much sometimes, like nobody wants. Did you watch Nobody Wants This?
Yes.
Yeah, that feeling of feeling like you're too much. That's happened to me, where it's interesting because I love my personality, and I think we both have been blessed with personalities to kind of host a podcast, talk to people, go up to people. You've been doing this for way longer than I have. So I don't know. I love my personality, but there's times where I feel like maybe I'm too much. Like I'm too much.
Too much what?
I don't know. I think it's like too much, maybe too loud, too
You're talking at a normal voice.
I don't know.
You're using your
but
normal voice.
What's interesting? I think when I'm one-on-one with someone, even off camera especially, I'm so quiet and calm, but I wonder if maybe, I think what people don't know about me is I used to be really shy as a child, and I kind of faked it till I made it to be outgoing.
Me too.
I'm not an outgoing I'm not outgoing. I make myself outgoing. Like I'm an introverted extrovert, I think it's called. Extroverted introvert, whichever one it is. I have to put that out there. So I'm like, maybe it's too much for people. But point is, what I've realized is, and what I realized from the show especially, is I'm not too much for the right person. The right person, the same with my sister, her husband is actually more outgoing than my sister, but he makes her shine. Like he likes to stand and watch her shine.
I love that.
And it's he has taught me a lot about what I'm looking for. So yeah, I'm enough for the right person.
Do you in your mind envision yourself with somebody who, is the life of the party, like can hold their own, can talk to anybody, or who's more like reserved and like has their group of friends, but like doesn't branch out that much beyond that?
I envision myself with someone like my brother-in-law, who's very outgoing, life of the party, my sister and they moved to Puerto Rico for a year or 2 years, and he would like go to temple and lead the prayers at temple.
Oh my
Like
God.
they loved him. So I envision someone, I'm not saying I want someone that does that, but I'm saying I want someone who I can bring to a party and I don't need to worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I don't want I think we need to be leveled out. I think someone needs to be a little bit shyer. So I'm okay with taking someone who's a little bit shyer than I am. How is your dynamic?
So that's why I asked. I always envisioned myself with the life of the party, like the person who like walks into the room and says hi to everyone and like always wants to make new friends. And me and Jake really balance each other out.
Wait, but what do you mean? He was so nice, and he like
No, he's so nice. I wonder if he can hear us right now. He's in the other room. He's so nice. He is so outgoing with his friends, but he's not going up to every person, introducing himself. Like the best way I can explain it is I was like, this is probably 2 years ago. I was like, I really want to join like a kickball league or some type of sports league. And he's like, oh yeah, like I'll like, we can like make a group chat with our friends and see who's down. I'm like, oh no, like to meet new people. And he thought that was the most absurd thing that anybody could ever say.
That's
he was
so
like,
interesting.
why would we want to do that?
he's like, we already have our crew.
We
We're
have
good.
people. So yes, Jake is definitely like more shy and reserved than what I would have imagined myself with, but we work so well together. And honestly, over the years, like I've become way more shy and quiet and reserved. Like I used to have such a big, endless social battery. Like when I was like, let's say before like 8 years old, probably, or 10, I was so shy. And then I definitely like grew into my own in like high school, like through the sports I did. And then in college, I definitely was like the most outgoing version of myself I could ever possibly imagine. And probably the same in my early 20s. And as my 20s went on, I became, I think like through COVID, honestly, like so introverted. And
Interesting. I wouldn't think that of you.
It like takes so much for me to like go out and like to
Do
go to like
something.
an influencer event. That takes like a week out of me.
But that's a whole different.
But like
because
any type of
yeah.
event, even like if we have like 2 weddings back to back, or even like one wedding, I'm like, that was so exhausting. I need to not speak to anybody for a week now.
Another question I wanted to ask you is, were you ever worried about what he would think about you having a podcast, having a social platform?
He loved it from the beginning.
Okay.
He was
That's
so interested and invested. He would listen to episodes before I even like they would come out on Tuesdays, and before I could even like wake up and be like, oh, like this episode's out, he's like, oh, I already listened. Like he really was so
heart.
invested, and that meant so much to me.
That is actually the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure maybe was he, did you talk about him when you were first dating him, or did you wait?
Actually, a few months into us dating, I think he was like, so are you ever going to talk about me on the podcast? And I was like, okay, green light, now I can.
Okay.
And because I never wanted anybody to not want to date me because of what I did.
Yeah.
I was definitely like careful with, like what I would say on social media and on the podcast and stuff. But I think one thing that like really helped us, and we mentioned Jared Freed in our vows, and we definitely credit a lot of our relationship to Jared, but he has listened to Jared Freed's podcast for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And so he was used to dating podcast content.
Right.
And so when he found out that I had a podcast, he thought that was really interesting. And actually, like on our first date, I told him I was about to interview Jared, and he thought that I was like the coolest person in the world because of that.
Aww.
And so and also like he learned a lot about dating from Jared, like from listening to that. So I think
That's
that just set us
amazing.
up for success.
Yeah. What podcast did he listen to?
J-Train.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy that he would listen to your podcast before they even came out.
Yeah, like right when they came out. Yeah.
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to him after, because that is the sweetest thing.
It was.
I think for me, it's so interesting. My mom once was like, I mean, obviously I'm still single. She's like, do you think that someone will be, you're pushing guys away with your platform? Because I do get a little bit honest and deep and talk about maybe topics some people don't talk about. So this was before the podcast or anything. And I was like, no, actually the person that's for me is going to love that I do that, because my sister actually used to do that. She gave a TED talk about body image and all this stuff. And her now husband was obsessed with it, like helped her start her own business and, was her biggest cheerleader. And I thought, I will find someone who's like that for me too, who won't be scared, about what I talk about and everything.
Absolutely. And this is why I tell people all the time, like, put more of yourself into your dating app profile and show who you really are, like, on your first dates as much as possible, because the goal is to deter the wrong people and attract the right people.
Right.
So you're not doing yourself a disservice in any way by, having more of you than other people give out there, because you want somebody who is going to want to listen to what you really feel. You want someone who is willing to have those harder, deeper conversations, who has maybe done, quote unquote, the work on themselves and knows who they are and knows what's important to them. Like, that's the type of person that you want to be with.
Right.
Not somebody who's like, oh my God, like, we're talking about feelings here. No.
Like, that's too much. Right. I need someone who's going to be open and honest and talk, because I'm an open book, and with anyone, I'm like, this is what's going on in my life to anyone I meet. So I need someone who's like that and, isn't afraid about, I feel like our generation is so, and what I wanted to ask you, this has nothing to do with dating, but what are your thoughts on New York City influencer culture? And like, what we're
honestly,
you're
like, I'm not in
influence-
it. Like, I'm not in it.
No, but you are. I think that I don't know who you're friends with or not, but I've seen you with some people, so I'm curious to hear, because it's so different in Miami, what your thoughts on it are and how you feel. Does it make you like insecure?
It definitely makes me insecure. I for so long, I felt like I wasn't good enough to like be in it, and like all I wanted to do was be invited to the events and to like know these people. And once I started getting invited to the events and I started going, I very quickly realized I want nothing to do with these events. Like, I don't feel comfortable going to them. They like reinforce the idea that I'm not enough when I like see these other girls who like were friendly on social media, but then they don't say hi, or like they say hi and then walk away, or like make me feel more insecure. I'm not dressed like as cool as they are. And listen, I'm sure a lot of it is internal. Like, I know a lot of them probably feel the same way. I've definitely met some amazing people who like I consider friends now through it, but for the most part, it's just very competitive, and it almost feels like high school.
I mean, that's why I was asking, because I sense that I can tell who the groups are, kind of.
Yeah.
Some people are kind of intertwined in different groups. I've seen like group breakups. I've seen it all.
Crazy.
So I wanted to ask, because I think Miami culture is so different, and to the point where I don't consider myself like, I influence, I guess, but I don't like to call myself an influencer. Point is, I'm friends with the influencers in Miami, and everyone includes you in everything. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're all friends, all of them. It's so different in Miami.
Interesting.
So different.
That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know there are people who are like creating these groups and like putting on these events to try and like be like less competitive and have everyone be friends. But at this point, I'm just so over it.
Yeah. And also, you've built a name for yourself. You don't need to.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because there were a few events recently that I'm like, oh my God, like me 2 years ago would have killed to be invited to this, and you couldn't drag me there.
Like what?
Like an event with like Rachel Bilson. Like, I was obsessed with the OC.
That's
and
crazy.
obsessed with Heart of Dixie. And I'm like, I would have killed to go and meet her. And like, I didn't want to. And like, Joe and the Juice had an event with Paris Hilton recently, and they DM'd me asking me to come. And I was like, would I be able to like take a 15-second like video clip with her? And they were like, we can't guarantee it. And I'm like, well, I'm not like going down to Soho to like say hi to Paris Hilton. I couldn't care less about doing that.
Like, I just want
unless I can ask her for a piece of dating advice. I'm not like, I don't care.
Yes.
And I've learned that the only influencer event that I want to go to at this point is a workout class, because I don't have to talk to anyone.
And then you can just get your workout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I have my friends, and listen, like, I'm friendly. I love talking to people and like meeting new people, and also like we're all kind of doing this like unique thing together.
Yes.
And so I do love that, and I'm not opposed to like making friends, but I don't want to be, I'm too old to be dealing with that shit. I'm too tired.
I get that. I think that I've even met influencers out who I followed and thought they would be so nice, and then they weren't.
Yeah.
And I had to unfollow them just because I'm like, I'm a normal person, and you make it seem like you're so nice. And this is in Miami, so nice on social media, and you're not. And I just think that if you're going to be an influencer and you want to be a content creator and influence people, you need to be nice to your fans, because these are the people that brought you or made you who you are. So, I mean, I've met some people, but I just wanted to ask that because I was curious.
Yeah. That's why it was so funny when I told Jake, I was like, oh, like my friend Jackie's coming over. We're going to do a recording. He was like, oh, like who is she? And I was like, we like go way back. Like we've known each other for 3 years. Like
I was thinking we filmed I think that episode came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the clips is pinned on my profile.
I love that.
I loved because I loved the
Wow.
clip. It was something about like body image, and I don't know. That was a good episode on body image.
love that.
And since then I've grown so much, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But you have Carly to thank, because I remember she was on your pod and I was like, I should reach out.
Oh my God.
And I
love
saw
that.
my pitch email and I cringed.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I pitched
Pitch
you.
emails are all cringy.
Yeah, but I'm also a publicist, so I know how to kind of like pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have Carly to thank
Thanks,
for
Carly.
me reaching out.
Well, we could go on for 3
Yeah,
more
we really
hours.
could.
We can't do that, but we'll do this again many more times. I can only imagine. Before I let you go, and I'm curious if you listened to the end of the last episode to find out what you said to this last time.
I remember I stuttered.
Okay.
I didn't answer it well.
Okay. Well, whether it's the same piece of advice or new advice from 30-year-old Jackie now with what you know now,
Okay.
what is the best piece of dating or relationship advice you've ever received or have to give?
I would say be yourself. I don't remember what I said in the last episode, but be yourself, because the right person is going to love you for everything you are. So don't try to pretend to be someone else. Be who you are, and you're going to see that the right person is going to love everything about you,
I love it.
even the bad things.
100%. Has Boston Boy responded?
Oh my God.
Dun, dun, dun.
He hasn't.
Boston Boy!
Oh my God, it's been 30 minutes. I'll give him that.
It's okay. You waited
Okay.
like 2 weeks.
I did wait 2 weeks. He's probably like maybe never, maybe not.
No, I think he will. I think he will.
I'll keep you guys
Yes,
posted.
please report back. Jackie, this has been amazing.
It's
Where
been
can everybody
amazing.
find you? Where can people listen to Fill Your Cup? All that things.
Okay,
All
so
that things. All the things.
all the things. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Life of the Shameless. Listen to Fill Your Cup on Spotify and Apple. If you want to watch video, we're on Spotify, and then we're also on TikTok at fillyourcup.pod.
Yay.
You would think I would know by now because I always do the outros. fillyourcup.pod.
There's always a lot going
Yeah.
on in there.
I'm so happy we did this.
Me too.
I'll see you next time. Maybe next time I'll come back when I'm dating someone.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Not hopefully. You will be.
I will.
You will. You will. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.